Hello, good evening, TSL and everyone who is watching us today. And it gives me a great pleasure to be here for the launch of Sunita's book, The Making of a Chief Justice of India. And, Sunita is our own dear admin at the Significant League. And it is indeed wonderful to hold a launch for her book online today. Without much ado, I would request Dr. Koshi to talk about the book and give an introduction, please. Over to you, Dr. Koshi.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Am
Yes,
I
yes.
audible?
we can. Yes, you are. Very much so.
Okay, thank you. We already have 11 people watching on YouTube. So, I'm extremely happy that we are finally able to launch uh, Sunita's book, The Making of a Chief Justice of India. And this is not an ordinary book. It is a book that is about Kamal Narayan Singh, who was a former Chief Justice of India, who is also her father. And this book, there's much I want to say about it. So I'll start now. It has a kind of introduction or foreword that is written by Sunita's brother, who's also the son of Kamal Narayan Singh, Justice Devendra Pratap Singh. And he also was a former judge of Allahabad High Court. And the other thing is uh, that Sunita and he have three more siblings. And Kamal Narayan Singh married Krishna Kumari. So, with those introductory remarks, I would like to enter into what I want to say. So, recently I have been teaching Hannah Arendt, chapter 1 of her book, The Human Condition. And Hannah Arendt says that human life is made of three things: labor, work, and activism. And she primarily says that life is political. I want to expand a little on that by saying that political life can be divided into a political life lived with honor, or an activist life lived with honor, or one that is, lived in a dishonorable manner. And one of the beautiful things about this book is that this portrays the life of a man who lived with dignity, integrity, and who became an example because of his character, which is something that is not uh, often seen, or seen only to a lesser degree in people of my generation. This is what I feel. I feel that, I have personally known now about Sunita's father, Santosh's father, Gauri's father, Sadhbir's father, my father. Through stories I've heard from each of you and also what I've read. And these were men who believed in plain living and high thinking and set examples for those of us in the country by what they said and did. This is a wonderful book. It's written in a very simple manner, but it has a lot of depth. The whole sweep of history is there. And we now live in a time of political ferment. It portrays a fight. So it's very important for us. In those days, if you read the book's first chapters, it's all about how many people in India fought for India's freedom. Just like now we fight for democracy, there's a fight going on in India. There's political ferment. You can even say there's political unrest, political turmoil. And now the fight is got a different shape because we are fighting for democracy. And if you read this book, you can see the roots of that democracy, how it was built in India, and what exactly we are fighting for. So it is a book that really helped me in reading it. And it not only talks about history, it places history in the context of one man's life as something that happened around him, who personally knew all these great characters or rubbed shoulders with them or knew them at least from a close distance, not a faraway distance, like Gandhi, Nehru, C. Rajagopal Achari, Vinoba Bhave. All these people appear in this book. So there is his self, and that's in the foreground. His schooling, his education, college, his doing MA, all those things. And behind it, the freedom struggle that he took part in even as a boy. How he used to wear only khadi, and even when he got married, even his handkerchief was made of khadi. So there is a self, and in the background there is this sweep of the entire panorama of India's freedom struggle, getting freedom, and the things that happened after that, including the Bhudan movement. Talk about Ambedkar, all those things. So it's very powerful to read this book, and it's put in a very simple way for real us to kind of return to those things and remember what we studied in our history books. And along with that, there is this axis of the family. They say that behind every successful man there is a woman. I don't know if you can really say that about Kamal Narayan Singh, but definitely his success was owed largely to his wife, and Sunita has brought that out well. So this is also a book about her in a way. Just like when we speak about Gandhi, we also have to speak about Kasturba. Here we also have to speak about Krishna Kumari. And there is a streak of activism, a strain of activism, which I find very impressive. That Kamal Narayan Singh was a man far ahead of his time in the sense that he was able to be a political activist in the right sense of the word, not in terms of being corrupt, not in terms of misusing his power to influence others in the wrong way or to use his influence to manipulate or to be deceitful, but in the right way. People who leave a shining track record in their careers so that by the time they die, people, only have good things to say about them and look up to them and emulate. Uh, he was also strongly able to remain faithful to his roots. Now, what I find is that people in the next generation, like me, for example, we are not able to have such a great influence as he did because we go away from our roots, and I mean that geographically. For example, I'm no longer in Kerala, and whereas my father, he was always in Kerala, he worked in Kerala, he lived in Kerala, so he had tremendous influence in his workplace, in his family life, with the extended family, with the town Trivandrum where he lived, with all the people there, and in the church, everywhere. The same way Sunita's father has that groundedness, so his life could touch not just thousands or 10,000s, but literally millions, especially after becoming a judge, becoming the Chief Justice of India, through his judgments, etc. And this is what I want to sum up, that it shows me again the importance of a life well led, a Socratic life. And yeah, I'm very grateful for Sunita having written this book. It's a great book. Everyone has to read it. I hope you can still hear me. I hope I'm still online. Am I there? Hello.
Yes, you are very much there, Dr. Kaushik.
Okay. Yeah. So now I would like to call upon Gauri and Sunita and Sadbir to hold up the book so we can have the book launch. Santosha and Lopa will be joining us, God willing, sooner or later. And these are the things that,
Dr. Santosh Bakaya, she's already here. So,
I'm already here. I'm not
oh,
in it,
great.
but I'm there. I'm there. I rushed because it was Sunita's book launch.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
So
you, Dee. Thank you.
I've just finished my introduction. I only have 5 minutes. That's why I've only said so many things. I have so many more things to say. Uh, it's very fascinating, even small incidents in between, like how she talks about, writers like Harivansh Rai Bachchan and Firak Gorakhpuri and all that. Because I'm from the English department, I feel very happy to read those sections. So it goes on like that. I could spend all 45 minutes talking about the book, but let's have the launch instead so others also get a chance to say something. Thank you, Sunita, for this wonderful book. Can we all hold up the book?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So there it is, friends. Please buy
Click,
this book.
click
Please
a
read
pic.
it.
Gauri, click a pic.
Not Gauri, someone from the
Someone else.
audience.
Lalit
Um,
magazine, you click a pic.
yeah, Lilith, please click.
He is sitting right in
Lalit
front.
sir can. Yeah, he can.
And I would like Lilith to come online also and say a few words, if it's allowed.
yes. So,
Okay.
I think there are 5 minutes for Santoshdi and Lalit sir. So, they can decide to split it between two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Koshi, for that introduction. And I'm sure, it is inspiring for everybody to actually go out there, get the book, and read it. Because, like you rightly said, not only it talks about the man, the Chief Justice of India, as well as, the history of India, right? That's what also makes this book, a must read. So
Mm.
we will soon get into Sunita's mind, what was on her mind while writing the book, and other questions. But before that, since we have Santoshdi here, uh, she might soon lose her network, and that is where I would request her to talk about the book and read something for the book. Santoshdi, over to you, please.
Thank you, Gauri, and hearty congratulations to Sunita Singh for this excellent book. And excellent is the adjective that comes to mind. It's a very, very wonderfully written book, and I am breathless right now because I've just entered the house, and also breathless with excitement because I'm holding your book in my hands. So, hearty congratulations for that. And in every word that you've written, we can see the labor, we can see the love that has gone into it. And there were certain chapters, certain paragraphs where I cried. And it's a beautifully written book. And in fact, Lalit Magazine was the first one who read it. And he was also keen to say something, but right now he has gone somewhere. He was sitting here right now. We just entered the house and we were in a cab, and I was afraid that I would be late, but I'm here holding your book. So thank you very, 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 very much for writing this book. And uh, all of you know that, of course, all of us have been privy to her doubts and her misgivings, her apprehensions, and sleepless nights during the writing of this book. Naturally, because it was about her father, and her father was not well during those days, and she had also lost her mother. That was a very, very traumatic period for her. And in spite of that, she continued writing. There was a gap of 3 months or so. She didn't write. She couldn't write. She couldn't get those words, but she continued writing, and this is what she has come up with, a beautiful, beautiful book, which I recommend that every bibliophile should read. So, before I would like to read from the epilogue, just a paragraph, because we don't have much time. So these are the last pages from which I'm going to read, and the very fact that the way she has written the book, there are very interesting anecdotes and certain incidents about the national movement and all, and wonderful pictures too. So let me read two paragraphs, which Sunita knows that I like very much. This was after she had lost her mother, and her father was naturally devastated. So this is what she writes. This is on page 185. Apart from being devastated, all of us were worried about how Papa would take it. 74 years of togetherness and a relationship which was very special. But he just allowed himself a little time to grieve, and after that was in control of the entire funeral proceeding, instructing my brother about what had to be done. At the age of 95, sitting on a wheelchair, he went to the crematorium and performed the last rites of his beloved wife. He could not leave her till the end, he said. My father has shifted to Allahabad from Noida to stay with my brother just as DP Singh retired. A few months back, my sister was visiting from the US, and Papa was very happy to see all his three daughters. I tell him, I tell him, his book is almost ready. Will you give me a copy? Will you give me a copy? He asked. We all laugh heartily at that. Then he asks us what we would like to have for breakfast. Jalebi? We nod like excited children. Papa will always be Papa. Yes, Papas will always be Papas. And this is on a very touching note that she ends the book, and it left me with a tingling sensation in the eyes and a lump in my throat. And Papas will always be Papas, and Papas and mothers will always be there. So this is a great book, and I recommend this book for all of you who are fond of reading, and all of you who love your dads. And her father has joined her mother up there, and we have a loving daughter, very affectionately penning his life in this book about a man who is pragmatic, practical, spiritual, and religious, and of course, a great dad. A great book. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sunita, for writing this. Thank you. I'm almost on the verge of tears, so please bear with me.
Thank you, Santoshji. I think all of us could relate to that, right? Fathers will always be fathers. So, Sunita, I would, start with that question as to, related to your relationship with him. So you would have watched your father closely going about his work or interacting with, people, even interacting with the children at home and the wife, right? So any specific incidents that you remember or that kind of impacted you or that is ingrained uh, in your mind? Would you like to share some of those incidents, maybe one or two, Sunita? We would also like to remember him along with you.
Yes, thank you so much, firstly, for this launch. I'm grateful to all of you, and I'm honored that Dr. Koshi, Santosh De, Sadhvir Di, and you have spoken so beautifully. You know how much this book means to me. All of you know that. See, my father was a person who had just, I don't know how, just the perfect balance of emotion, of pragmatism, and the work life balance I've written in the book also was just so perfect. I don't know whether he was a perfectionist and he did everything with passion. So, because of that, when he was working, he was working. When he was playing golf, he was playing golf. when he was but looking after the house, it was that. But of course, he worked very hard at whatever he was doing. My father was a very dedicated family man also. So professional part, I would I would I would like to tell you about this, that my mother's sister was in Gwalior. She was very sick, and I've mentioned this in the book also. And he would go every Friday night, every Friday evening, drive from Allahabad to to Gwalior by car, prepare the cases there, uh, take part in the look after and see the his responsibility as an elder in the family. And after that, on Monday morning, from there he would drive down straight to the court. And this was he was a lawyer at that time. This there was no doubt in his mind that work cannot suffer, but at the same time your responsibilities and your duties as a family man are equally important. Besides, he always encouraged us to speak up. So that was a very important part. And whenever whoever came to my house, whether rich or poor, important, unimportant, I as a child was never, sort of said that, okay, go inside or don't sit and talk. We were encouraged to sit, converse, and, look after the guests, everybody. And that humility and the kindness and empathy, I think that was instilled by my parents, by my father, and by seeing that's how children, so that has been a very important part of my childhood. You're mute, Gauri.
Yes, yes. So that's wonderful, Sunita. And I can, maybe as children at times we feel that, it is boring to entertain, our parents, guests, and things like that, right? But, the way your father encouraged you, and that is really wonderful, because that gives a different kind of exposure, right? For children to be talking to people from different walks of life, to be interacting with them. And so I would really like to know as to what inspired you to write the book, because all of us live our lives. All of us kind of want to talk about our parents, but of course, I mean, the fact that he was
Father.
Chief Justice of India. But other than that, is there anything more that inspired you to really write the book, and tell your story, or tell his story to the world, Sunita?
See, Gauri, I always knew that his story, his life was very interesting because he had taken part in the freedom struggle. Uh, he had worked with Gandhi, Nehru, Shastri was his mentor. He, as a child, he was while even in school, he used to take part in the night schools. So that was educating the masses. Then with working with Vijay Lakshmi Pandit in the children who took part in the freedom movement, and then he was inspired by Gandhi, by so many other people, and that encouraged him to take part in the freedom struggle. He also went to jail for distributing prohibited literature, and also hid in a goods train. He built roads with his own hands. That was after the freedom struggle. He, as a lawyer, he represented Ram Manohar Lohia, and all these things made his life seem very interesting. And I saw people coming and going, and that, he worked with Charan Singh as a lawyer. So all this, I was sure that his life was interesting and it should be made, because that was also the story of India, you see. before the freedom struggle, during the freedom struggle, and after the freedom struggle. He was a part of that. So, but he was not ready for that. And I took a lot of time, I think, to start doing that, but it was always in my mind.
No, that's wonderful, Sunita. And although you think that you took a lot of time, uh, uh, all of us feel that it came about in time, right? He has seen that the book is completed and he had
Yes.
perhaps read it. So I think it came about in time, and he would have been so happy, seeing that the book has come out, Sunita. So that's as a daughter, I think he you have done great. That's what I would like to say.
Thank you. Thank you
So,
so much.
Sunita, you did talk about the story of India while talking just now. So, in the book also, you have taken the same approach of aligning the story with the happenings in India, right? So, what was your thought of behind it, and what made you place it that way, Sunita?
See, the story of India and the story of Justice Kane Singh. Of course, the story of India with or without Justice Kane Singh exists, but the story of my father, of Kamal Narayan Singh, uh, Kamal Narayan Singh's story is not just his story. It is also the story of India because he was one of them who took part in the struggle. And even after that, like I told you, he took part in elections too, at a lower level, of course, and building roads, doing bhudan. Now, who would do that now? We can't even dream of doing these things. And he was filled with zeal. So, and there were so many of them. It is just not about my father. I think people of those times were filled with that zeal. So, in fact, when this book actually has not was not written in this way, it was written. Of course, the history was there, but it was written in a different way. And when I approached Readomania after being rejected by many people because they wanted a uh, autobiography, and this was a biography. So that is when Dipankar Mukherjee of Readomania, he asked me, why should people read your father's story? So that's when I said that exactly what I'm saying, that it is intertwined. The history of India is intertwined with his life. It is not just his life journey. So then he told me, he guided me sort of that then you have to rewrite the entire thing, which was a task, of course, as you know.
Yeah,
So that is the reason, one of the reasons,
yeah.
because it is
No, so
also the history of India. Yeah, yeah,
that's
carry on.
that's true. But before I forget, and since you have brought about Readomania and your conversations, while I think all of us here uh, have known about your journey, right, from you, our conversations. But I'm sure the readers would also like to know about your writing journey, Sunita. How difficult it was, how easy it was, and how long did it take, Sunita?
Gauri, frankly, it was not easy. But it did not weigh heavily on my mind at all. But it was not easy because there were many things. See, my father, I started writing in 2017. I was writing poems before that. And I think I started writing in 2017. And this was the time you know, his age was advancing. And at first, he was not ready. I had to record his conversation with him because we used to have a question answer session, and that could only be done in spurts because there were times when he felt very sick, there were times he did not want to talk. So this all, then my mother fell sick, or sometimes so many visits to the hospital, you all know about it. Besides that, of course, besides all that, as a woman, although writers are writers, but as women, we have different roles to play. So I also had a house, and as you say, not just the society, because of the conditioning, we have this thing that I'm the mother, I'm a housewife also, and I have a house here to look after. I was going to Noida where my parents were staying. So all that also weighs on your mind. So sometimes when you're sitting and writing, which requires all your concentration, writing a book like this, uh, there were times when I felt guilty. Oh, I haven't cooked. Oh, what is happening in the kitchen? Why is this person doing that? So all those things you have to manage. Besides, apart from that, this book took 5 years, and it this is the third time that the book has changed form. It was not initially written like this. It was written as a biography first. Then I changed it in a sort of a conversation. I was told that doesn't work. Then I told you, then I rewrote the entire thing in the form of a biography. This took 5 years, and when I started writing again, because I had written in a conversation form, rewriting the entire thing, that took time because I thought I would do it in 1.5 months, and I told Didomini I'll do it. But then I realized it was a tough job, so many things to do, and my mother passed away. So there was an emotional turmoil which was happening. My father shifted to Allahabad. They used to be here. There was a void in my life. But somehow the support of my family, friends, all of you who were egging me on, other friends whom I've mentioned in acknowledgements, Yasin, Sabah, Nidhi Archana, so many other friends. So that sort of everybody was saying, okay, come on, write. And I completed it. I know I took time, but thankfully I was able to complete it, and he was able to hold the book in his hand before he passed away just 1 week later after I had given him the book.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita. This journey would be inspiring for so many writers because, as writers, all of us, try to write. Sometimes we can't write. Sometimes we don't like what we write, and we just go on. At times, we feel like giving up. But
Yeah,
what you
there
did
were
was
times.
it is really inspiring. So
I want
that's
to
really
add one
wonderful.
more thing, Gauri. Gauri, I want to add just one more thing for writers like us who are just trying and we give up, and that every rejection which came, there were rejections. In fact, one editorial, one of the editors of a publishing house, said that it may not be that I'm trying to name drop, but it seems I was name dropping. But I did not take it as an affront. I thought then I had to rectify my way of writing. So I took every rejection and I tried to learn from it. That I did earnestly. So I think one should not, try to take the rejections in a positive manner and try to improve. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sunita. So, I actually have many, many more questions, Sunita, but we will probably take a few minutes and
Sadhguru.
come back to the questions. Sadbirdi, can I
Sunita,
request
can
you
I?
to talk about the book and uh, read a portion of it? Sorry, before that, Dr. Koshi, were you saying something?
Sunita, can I just ask one question about the book?
Please go ahead.
See, I just wanted to talk about your father's connection. It's a little controversial with the Congress, and people like us, we are not so involved with the Congress. I mean, we are maybe pro democracy and pro Congress, maybe not. I don't know, but they were very strongly Congress, And what I want to say is, how do you, think that, you have mentioned how he handles cases, and there he was impartial, And at the same time, you have
Yes.
mentioned that politically he was very active with the Congress. So, how do you feel that he could manage that? Because this is what is missing in today's life, I feel, across the political spectrum.
So, this, as I have told you, his heart and his mind was in, you know, like he would be very kind. His heart was in the right place. He knew, okay, fine, I have to be kind. This is there. But it was always his mind which told him what to do. So sometimes, even to us, he would say that, okay, fine, I understand. But this is what has to be done. And that has been the guiding principle of his life. What has to be done. And his sense of duty was very strong, I think. And like you said, the Congress, because at that time he was part of the freedom struggle, and Congress was the primary party, especially in the north, which was doing it, Gandhi, Nehru. And I think most of the people, even so many others who were later went, separate ways from the Congress, were part of it. They were mostly inspired by Gandhi's call for nationhood, and that is how they were inspired. And so he was also a part of that. So that, having said that, after he joined the legal profession, uh, and then when he became a judge, in fact, during the emergency, there were many cases. One of the very famous cases in Allahabad was there was, I've mentioned it in the book, that he was imprisoned due to his political leanings, and that was during MISA, the Maintenance of Internal Security Act. That was during this time that he was put into jail. And this gentleman, and I think he was, we all know her, Nirmala Singh Ji's father-in-law. And he was, Mr. Chaudhary, he was, and my father gave a judgment which was against what was unlawful. And so there was no, I don't know whether it was his training or how it was, because he was absolutely clear what he had to do. So there were many judgments which he gave, where which was against the Congress or the government, so to say, because that was the Congress government at that time, and also during emergency.
Yeah. Thank you. Don't you think that it was not against the Congress, but that where the law is concerned, he would follow the law, and where the political life is concerned, he would
Yes.
follow his inclinations? It is not, yeah.
Yes, this was, of course, what you put it in a better way, that following the law and doing what was right in law.
No,
So,
thank you.
as a judge. So he used to say, when I'm sitting in the judge's chair, then I'm just a judge. I think that comes
Yeah.
in the forward also. My brother has mentioned that he said that when you're sitting on that chair, you're nobody's son, you're nobody's, father. You're just a judge, and you should do what is required of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita, and thank you, Dr. Koshi, for that question. Satbirdi, over to you, please.
Thank you, Gauri. And thank you, Koshi, for that wonderful introduction. I must congratulate Sunita for this long, looked forward to launch. It's happening at last. So happy, and wish you the best with this book and other new books to come. So proud that you're a famous and successful biographer now, honestly. So I'm going to read from a chapter called Allahabad University, that is on page 39. It is an important chapter historically and biographically, as it reflects an unfurling of new Indian youth, newly exposed to possibilities never thought of in this country before, as the country comes out from the confusion of princely states, British rule versus all that. This era saw the birth of multiple ideologies, political parties, and social institutions, social reformers. There was much churning in Indian thought at that period. And the idea of a new nation was just newly formed. Most of these youth in Allahabad University became huge leaders later on and trailblazers, ministers, and what all. So that's why I found this chapter very relevant for me to read. So I'll be reading passages from it, not the whole chapter. Sunita writes, Allahabad University was set up in September 1887 and is one of the 4 oldest universities to be set up in India. At one time, it was called the Oxford of the East and boasted of a distinguished alumni. Notable among them were poets and writers such as Sumitra Nandan Pant, Mahadevi Verma, Munshi Premchand, Harivansh Rai Bachchan, Firaq Gorakhpuri, and many others. Many famous academicians and scholars have taught and studied here, nurturing their talent. The university was full of discussions and debates, and there was not a student or person who could be called apolitical. While some students like Trilok Singh Bhasin were ardent supporters of the Communist Party, there were those who were followers of the Hindu Mahasabha. Kamal Narayan's close friend, Colonel Amar Bahadur Singh, was a member of the British Indian Army. But after meeting Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he joined the Azad Hind Fauj and used to train soldiers in the Azad Hind Officers Training School at Singapore. Again, later she says, during this time, the famous Professor Amarnath Jha was the Vice Chancellor of Allahabad University. He was a brilliant academician and a scholar of not only English, Hindi, Sanskrit, and Urdu literature, but also a great patron of art and culture. He took classes in the English department as well.
So, Sadbirdi,
Yes,
hello. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a wonderful passage that you chose because, I wanted to ask Sunita a question about Allahabad, but because we didn't have so much time, we couldn't do that. But that's a wonderful passage that you chose. Uh, we might just have a minute or so, Sadbirdi. So
Please
maybe
do.
we
Yeah,
will.
please do. Please do.
So
That'd be more interesting. So I
sorry,
will,
sorry about that.
yeah. No, it's great because this is more relevant and what she will tell us will not be in the book. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So, thank you, Sadbirdi. And Sunita, one last question for you. We have always heard you talking about the Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb of Allahabad and how it has impacted and inspired or influenced all of you, I think. So, if you can spend a minute and probably answer that, we could
Quickly,
close on that note. Sorry,
quickly,
sorry
quickly.
for,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that's okay. So, Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb is, Allahabad is we have the commingling of cultures. So, on Eid, you would find us going to a Muslim friend's house, and there, they were sending Qurbani meat, which was kept in our fridge. Then, on Christmas, my mother used to call it Bada Din, and we used to have meetha chawal, sweet rice, which was the norm, I don't know since how many days. And of course, being Hindus, we had our own festivals. And Christians and Muslims of our colony, we would all celebrate Mohalla, we used to call. We would all celebrate together Holi and Diwali. They would be coming. So it was all like that. Also the music and the dance and plays and the cultural part. So this was all a commingling of all kinds of cultures. Also Western education, where we had this convent where I studied. So, you would find a person talking, saying Jai Ram Ji ki, while another person would reply, आदा बरसे जनाब आप कहाँ थे आजकल बहुत दिनों बाद दिखाई दिया ईद के चांद हो गए हैं. Now this is a very Urdu way of greeting, but that was a very normal thing for us in Allahabad. That is the Ganga Jamuni Tehzeeb, which I have grown up with. And
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sunita, for that. That's very interesting. So we are on the 45th minute as we speak. So I think we will have to close given the limitations
Lopa's-
of the platform.
Hi,
as well.
I'm so sorry. I just woke up and
Yeah,
saw
Lopa.
sir's message.
No
I know.
problem.
I know. You
So-
were in US.
No,
Yeah.
what happened is
You were in
there was a time
So
confusion
sorry.
because our clock has like postponed 1 hour
Yeah.
na, for winter.
Yeah.
In winter, for daylight saving, the clock
Yeah.
kind of goes like it postpones for.
Sorry, Lopa, we can't hear you. But I think we will have to close this program. And Sunita, thank you for all the insights from you.
Thank
and
you, all
thank
of
you,
you.
everybody, for joining. And
I'm very
Everybody.
sorry
Thank you so much.
for
Thank
joining
you
so
for-
late because
That's okay.
because
Thank
because
you
of the
for
time
all the-
confusion. The time like
Right.
time confusion was there.
Lopa,
very much.
sorry
It's okay,
to interrupt
Lopa.
you. We
Yeah,
have to
so-
close it now.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy that you joined,
Yes.
and thank you for joining. Thank you,
And
Thank you,
thanks to
everyone.
all the viewers who were with us right from the beginning. So thank you so much, and hope we will
Thank
have
you,
many
Gauri.
more launches of this kind, Sunita. And may you
Yeah.
write many more books. Thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good
we
evening,
all will.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.